What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to today's... How many times am I going to do it? How many times am I going to do it? How many times am I going to come on, do an intro, and then all of a sudden realise that I'm on mute still? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. It's great to be here. I do apologise for those of you who joined me yesterday. Yeah, I had to run off 20-25 minutes in, the nausea set in, and I had to go lie down. So I apologise for everyone that was with me yesterday. I apologise for everybody that was having to put up with my crankiness on that little half-hour, 20-minute stream as well. I'm feeling a lot better today, thankfully. And yeah, looking forward to getting back, talking about football, talking to you wonderful people, and of course, feeling healthy, which is good, because that was a tough 5 days. But look, the news is true, unfortunately. I'm absolutely not still muted, Paul. You can't get me with that because I have a sound bar in front of me. Even though you would think I wouldn't start the stream on mute, Paul. But hey ho, that's the joys of me. Yeah, look, we're going to go through the news that... And I can't believe... Let me just say one thing. I'm really disappointed in you all. I see lots of comments about Thiago's injury saying that he's like cheese. That's really harsh on cheese. He's... I don't even know what to say anymore. Like, if ever... Surely now the whole debate about does Thiago get a new contract is over. If ever there even was a debate. It has to be over now, right? It has to be. It's ridiculous what's going on with Thiago. I don't even know what... I woke up today, right? And I looked at my phone, about 8 or 9 messages. And all of them were like, I kid you not, he is actually injured. How's he injured? He came on, what did he play, 6 minutes? Something like that? Ah, lads, look, nobody wants a player to be injured. Thiago doesn't want to be injured. Klopp doesn't want him to be injured, but that doesn't really help. It's madness. Look, surely he has to retire from football at this point. His body just simply can't cope. Which is a crying shame because we all know the talent the man has on a football pitch. He's phenomenal. But he's been absolutely riddled with injuries for the last year or so. And yeah, we can't be 200 grand a week. No way you can look at renewing that. It's crazy. And look, it's not very helpful to the squad either, of course. I'm looking at his touch map here from the Arsenal game. He played 13 minutes all in, had 10 touches, and he's out injured. I don't know what to say, folks. But look, firstly, to Thiago, get well soon, recover soon, but it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So yeah, that's where we're at with the Thiago news, unfortunately. As per Paul Joyce, Thiago Alcantara is facing another spell on the sidelines after sustaining a muscle injury in his comeback against Arsenal last weekend. Please don't. I don't want to hear bring Thiago back, bring Thiago on, any of that stuff for the rest of the season. The man's races ran at Liverpool and there's no need for us to be looking at extensions or relying on him or anything. Don't even give him minutes. And I said this months ago. There's no point. Look to the future now. And when I say this, I don't mean to be horrible to Thiago. I love Thiago. As you know, he's an amazing player. But we need to look to the future now. We need to look to the next midfield that's coming through. We need to give them repetition and minutes, and the more time they play together, the more accustomed they'll be to each other, and the better the performances should be. So yeah, that's what my view is here. Look to the future. At the end of the season, when Thiago Alcantara and Joel Matip's contracts are up, obviously thank them for their service, help Joel Matip with his rehab, but other than that, it's time to move on. Do you want to hear a bit of a mad one? And I think you guys probably seen this yourselves if you're on Sky Sports News app or whatever, but Boyzone are considering buying into Chorley. That's right, the Don't Love Me for Fun girls, Let Me Be the One girls are thinking of buying into Chorley. All I can see now is Peter Kay singing Amarillo. Don't know why, but when I think of Chorley, that's all that pops into my head. What about as a coach with Jabby? Now you're talking, Fritz Frank. Now that's I can get on board with that, buddy. I think a lot of people could. Thiago Alcantara, given Stefan Bajcetic, Wataru Endo and Alexis McAllister maybe a few little tips on how to manipulate their body in midfield and what positions to take. Oh yes, I'd be certainly, sign me up for that. Last night I actually sat in and I watched the Stuttgart Leverkusen game. I rewatched it all just to try to watch a bit more of Xabi Alonso's style of play and stuff like that. it's very... this is going to sound obvious, right? But it's very structured in the way that he gets his teams to play. So as soon as the goalkeeper gets the ball, you can see all of Alonso's players immediately move into their exact positions that he wants them to line up in. It's very fluid in the way he wants it to play, but also rigid, if that makes any sense. I was struck by how purposeful each movement was. It's very different from what we see with Jurgen, which is, of course, the system that we know and love, but it's the gegenpress and the winning the ball back higher up the pitch. That's the goal in our system, is to win the ball back as far up the field as you can, less distance between you and the goal, and that's the way we played under Jurgen. So it was different to watch Alonso's Leverkusen play and look at exactly how they break down teams and exactly how they structure attacks and stuff like that. And it was a nice insight, actually, into what might be Liverpool's future. I'm going to record the Burnley preview after this. I'll be out about 6 o'clock. So do give that a watch if you guys get a chance later on. What's the blue card situation? Yeah, this is some bullshit. Let me say that. Yes. Breaking news. I can't believe I'm saying this because it's so stupid. But breaking news, blue cards are set to be introduced in professional football as part of sin bin trials to be announced on Friday. The move will see players removed from the field for 10 minutes if they commit a cynical foul, show dissent towards a match official, or just happen to play for Liverpool. Because that's what's going to happen. It is. You know it. I know it. Tierney will be blue carding the shit out of our players. This is nonsense. Football is eating itself. Football is destroying itself with this stupidity. How about ask the fans, do you want sin bins in your game? And you will get a resounding, of course we don't, it's stupid. I'm done, like, they're just destroying the game. They're bastardising football. Get the handball law sorted out. Get the VAR stuff sorted out. Oh, and on VAR, I've got something that you'll probably be unsurprised about, but at least you've got confirmation of it now. So let me take you through some of these things. Premier League Chief Football Officer Tony Scholes on VAR, this is what he said. They've done a review on it. They've looked at VAR. And to be fair to, they have taken feedback from the public, but they wouldn't give the actual results. So the public were asked if they still have faith and want VAR, and they say the majority of the public, but won't give a number because it must be too close for their liking, do still want VAR in football. But this is what the conclusion they've come to is. There are too many checks taking far too long. Correct. The fan experience inside the stadium is nowhere near good enough. Correct. VAR errors down, go fuck yourself. No, they're not. I don't know. Stop patting yourself on the back. They're trying to say now, I think it's 96 or 98%. I think it's 96 of VAR decisions are correct. Me whole. There's no way 96% of Liverpool's VAR decisions this season have been correct. But you don't have to take my word for that, because Liverpool have suffered the most. Not me saying it, not you saying it. It's the Football Association or the Premier League chief saying it. So you can now happily go about your day, and anybody gives you the Liverpool crap, you can say, sorry mate, statistically, as proven, Liverpool have suffered the most at the hands of VAR. Aston Villa have been the biggest winners of VAR. So there we go. And the semi-automated offside doubts. Doubts! Of course there is. Well, semi-automated offside doubts is basically them saying, oh no, we don't want you taking it out of our hands. Oh no, we don't want the referees not being able and the VAR officials not being able to shaft you over it. No. We don't want the technology that will do it without any bias. Of course not. Why would we want that? Why would we want transparency? Why would we want emotion removed from decision making? Why would we want human error taken out of it? Why? What do you want? It's ridiculous. These lads are idiots. The PGMOL, IFAB and all these other morons need to get this shit sorted out, because football's becoming a joke. We've noticed, because we've been keeping track throughout the last 3 months, of all fan channels, the content, the views, and football is down across the board. The interest in the game is dropping. It is not in any question. And these idiots, rather than fixing the stuff that's clearly wrong, just keep introducing more stuff and they can't get the other stuff right. It's not good enough. You deserve better. I deserve better. And it should be sorted out. It's a joke. How long do you think the stream will be today? 17 inches. No, I don't know, mate. I'm just going to see as long as I can go for, to be fair, bud. This is ridiculous. Like, okay, let's start a poll in the chat. I'm going to put a poll in the chat right now. 1 second. Oh, I missed a good poll, lads. It's been a while. I haven't done a poll in a while. Let me ask the question. Right. Poll is up. Simple question. Do you want sin bins in football? Yes or no? I'll allow that to run for the rest of the stream and you guys can have your say on it. All I can see is this being another way that officials get to dictate the outcome of a game of football. This is it. Now, I did learn something interesting yesterday around the official audio. So you know that the way they don't play the VAR audio inside the stadium, that's nothing to do with the Premier League. That's nothing to do with the FA. That's coming from IFAB. They won't allow the Premier League to play the VAR audio inside the stadium for the fans. So that's football's lawmakers that are stopping that. Nothing to do with the Premier League. How do I feel today? I'm okay. I'm a good bit better. Thank you. Not fully back yet, but a good bit better. Everyone is saying no, but why? Because it's the most ridiculous idea ever in the history of the game, mate. You are basically rewriting football. How long has it been around? Sin bins have never been introduced because they're just stupid. Do you know what's going to happen when a sin bin happens? You're going to get the most boring 10 minutes of your life because it's just going to be other team defending, killing time, wasting time. It's just going to be the height of stupidity. That's why. Because it won't make a damn bit of difference. Remember when they brought in golden goals, silver goals, all this crap, and it had the opposite effect? That's what's going to happen here. All a sin bin's going to do is players are going to start cheating even more. Players are going to... Remember what Gabriel did to Darwin on the halfway line and didn't even get a foul for it. But Darwin got a yellow for his one. Or excuse me, Canade got a yellow for his one. Now imagine that situation if Canade was sent off for 10 minutes for a foul, but you had to look at Gabriel getting away with the same foul and nothing happening. It's just going to increase your anger. It's just stupid. They're idiots. They're destroying their own... Who do they think they are? Nobody wants it. I've seen many journalists talk about this. Nobody wants sin bins in football. Maybe yellow cards could result in 10-minute sin bins, might reduce cynical fouls. I doubt it. All that's going to happen is 10 minutes is going to be boring because the team with 10 men are just going to sit back behind the ball and defend for 10 minutes. That's it. Take too long over throw-ins, too long over goal kicks, fall down anytime they're touched to try and buy time with fouls. It'll just be a shit show. I promise you, it's going to be a nightmare. Every game's going to be more boring now than most Champions League finals. Exactly, Toes. It's going to be a joke, mate. They can't even get VAR right, and they're still just rolling out more stuff. Sort out the handball rule, bring in semi-automated offside, keep goal line technology, scrap VAR off altogether because it's a joke, and the game would be just grand. Panoff Scout said, sin bin's the most pathetic thing I've heard of in football. It's ridiculous, mate. I agree with you. I'm so angry about this because it's not football. It's never been football. It doesn't need to be changed. The game is the way it is. Leave it alone. Is this going to be introduced on Saturday? No, mate. No. It's just going to be trialled from next season in the FA Cup, I think. Well, that was the plan anyway, is to trial it in the FA Cup, the FA Women's Cup, and And I think that's where the initial trials are going to be. But I don't know if that's been fully confirmed yet on the exact specificities of it. Sin bins work in rugby because it's a stop-start game and the one-man advantage doesn't matter as much as sin bins in football. And also, the referees in rugby have the ability to stop a clock, right? So if a scrum breaks down, the referee can stop the clock, reset the scrum, start the clock again, stuff like that. That's not the case in football. So, yes, for a game that we have seen under VAR increase in breaks, this is not going to help. We just get rid of VAR. Nobody wants it, let's be honest. VAR is a nonsense at this point because they can't officiate properly. And the officials that they have are clearly at least biased, in my opinion. At least biased. Later said 2 minutes in bin, VAR check if that goes through. It's crazy, mate. Like, now, to be fair to him, I do like that Premier League Chief Football Officer Tony Scholes said that there's too many checks and they're taking too long. See, for me, with VAR, you're looking for perfection in a sport that perfection is not attainable. It just isn't. Because whatever way you look at it, some things are always going to come down to a degree of subjectivity. It is just that way as a sport. So you'll never get the perfection that perhaps you can get in a rugby or a cricket. Even rugby, there's probably still some subjectivity in that. But it's not a definitive sport like tennis. Balls in or out. Pretty straightforward. Does the conversation of Thiago being a poor signing need to be had? His wages are crazy. Played less than 50% of possible minutes. Didn't play in half the finals that he's been here for. Thank you, Liam, for your super chat, bud. That's awesome. You're really kind, mate. Thank you so much. In answer to your question, though, Liam, I think, for me, and I can only answer for myself, Liam, when we signed Thiago, I felt that even if we got half the games out of him, it's going to be worth the money we paid because the transfer fee was fairly reasonable. Was it 25 million over 4 years, 5 million up front, and then 5 million a year structured for 4 years? I felt like that was worth the risk. The 200 grand a week, or what, 10 million quid a year, or whatever it is, that's a different conversation. But I wouldn't have him in the Naby Keita camp of a flop, but certainly underwhelmed. That's probably fair. It seems like every time we get near a final as well, unfortunately, Thiago's just not able to play in it. You know, I really felt for him when he broke down on the pitch before, I think it was the League Cup against Chelsea. That, you could see it in his face. He was crying. It was horrible to watch. He was clearly, obviously, very upset that he couldn't play and help out his teammates, but it is just one of those things. It is what it is. What I'm glad of, Liam, is that there's a natural break. So when the summer's contract's up, we don't have to dance around the subject. Himself and Joel Matip giving thank you for their brilliant service, in Joel's case particularly, to the football club. And off they pop. You know, help Joel rehab, as I said, but other than that, no. So, on the Klopp stuff about Barcelona and those links, you'll notice a couple of things if you keep track of where these links are coming from. It's coming from Gerard Romero, Barcelona-centric. Sport, publication in Spain, Barcelona-centric. It's the usual stuff that I keep telling you about with Spanish journalists and Spanish publications. They are very, 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 just I think of them as propaganda merchants, basically, for the football clubs that they're in bed with. It's pathetic, but they love their shithousery. So for me, I think it's nonsense, but I'd love to hear Klopp talk about it. Because they've made some serious allegations here. Gerard Romero said that Klopp has basically agreed to go in the summer. If that's a lie, that's libelous probably, because Klopp's breaking his contract at that point if that's the case, and Liverpool will be due compensation. Like, why should Klopp be allowed to just go to Barcelona in the summer? Why? He's on the contract. Fair enough if he wants the year off and he needs a break, and John W. Henry and FSG have said, for everything you've done for us, we'll allow you to break the contract, get that year off. I get that. But you want to go join Barca if that's the case? Compensation, please. Same way we'll have to pay for Alonso. Why would it be any different in this situation? You wouldn't let a player do it. You're not going to let, I don't know, Virgil van Dijk or Diaz just leave and go to Barcelona. Imagine Diaz said, nah, I'm just going in the summer. Just cancelling my deal, I'm off. I'm joining Barca. No, you're not. You're under contract. Same as every other professional footballer. It's weird. It's like people don't have common sense. And also, John W. Henry's not very fond of Barcelona. So if he found out Klopp had an agreement in place to join Barca in the summer, I find it hard to believe that he wouldn't be best displeased with the situation and probably asking a few questions or just telling Klopp he's not releasing him out of his contract. One or the other. Don't believe Romero. He's the guy who's milking the messy rooms. Oh, I know he's full of it. Don't worry, mate. I got you. I'm with you. I never believe anything he says or writes because he's just a Barca fanboy mouthpiece. So I got you, man. Don't worry. I'm with you. Right. I feel like we need to have a conversation about Mr. Ryan Gravenberch. Because remember when we were signing him, I said I had fears over Gravenberch. Then when we signed him, very quickly I said I was wrong. I'm kind of hovering back around the middle again now. Because he had a good start to his Liverpool career. But I feel like he's not doing that at the minute. Now look, he's 21. He never had a pre-season proper, didn't have a full pre-season or anything in the summer with Liverpool. So I get all that. But he doesn't seem to be getting better with games at the moment. And look, Liverpool have had players that have taken longer to get the grips. Fabinho, Andy Robertson, they took time to get used to Klopp's system and they came good. And Gravenberch has all of the tools to come good. But at this moment in time, I don't think he should be near the starting 11 for a lot of the games. I thought it was a mistake to play him against Arsenal. I would have went with Harvey Elliott personally just for that bit of continuity. But how do you guys feel about Ryan Gravenberch so far in his Liverpool career? Now, I wouldn't be writing anybody off. I'm not trying to say get rid of him, not at all. He will get better. He does have the skill set to be a success. You can see that in him. The man has class about him. But it's just getting to that rhythm and level of performance consistently. What is sin bins? It's like my bins. Big Irish nut syndrome. No, man, it's basically like you get put in the bold corner for a few minutes. So you get sent to the sidelines to sit on a chair for 10 minutes. That's literally it. Then you come back into the game. But I have a question. Here's a question for you. And I don't know the answer to this yet, but it just popped into my head. Ben, if you're watching, Connor, clip this. So, here's a question I have about sin bins and the blue card. What happens if the player's already on a yellow? Then what happens? Does the sin bin upgrade to a red then? If you're on a yellow and you get a blue card, what happens? Or, if you're not on a yellow and you get a blue card and you do your sin bin and you come back onto the pitch, what happens if you then foul again? And it would be a yellow. Does that then convert into a red? These are questions we defo need the answer to. SKG, I know, no problem, buddy. I lashed them into the chat. Always happy. It's a sincere question, buddy. There's no stupid questions. So any question like that you have, man, lash it into the chat. I understand that there are people watching in all different parts of the world who English mightn't be the first language. I get you, bud. I'm here for you. If I can help out in any way, lash the questions in. Oh, it said it in the report. Cool. Sorry. I haven't read the report yet. I'll be fully transparent about that. No, I didn't read the report. So thank you for that. Appreciate that input. 2 blue is a red. 2 blue? But what about blue? So blue and a yellow is a red. Oh, Jesus, it's getting so weird now. Why am I now thinking about colour mixing in my head? You know, what happens if I get blue paint and yellow paint and mix them together? Any Dom update? The only update I have for you, mate, on Szoboszlai was that he underwent scan and some treatment in Hungary, is coming back to Liverpool, and it isn't thought to be as serious as was feared from the Hungarian side, but I still don't know the extent or how long he'll be out for. The initial talk from Hungary was that it could be a month, but we don't know is the answer at this moment in time. Alright, Connor sent it to me now, sorry. So, the new rule, blue cards in football. It'll be used to force a player off the field for 10 minutes if he commits fouls, then prevents an attack deemed dangerous, or if he protests a lot to a referee. So, hang on a minute. They might as well just call this the Bruno Fernandes card then, if it's about protesting to referees. A blue card plus a yellow card will result in a red card. 2 blue cards will result in a red card. A first phase of testing will take place possibly in the FA Cup and initially not be used in major competitions. Just get rid of it. It's stupid. Nobody wants it. How about just... Here's a good idea. Every football club, just survey your season ticket holders. Just get... Why don't you wait for get the clubs to do that? Or FIFA, whoever it is. Just get the clubs to survey their season ticket holders and ask them, have they any interest in sin bins? Explain what sin bins are, give them a little form, and ask them to fill it out. And then let the public decide what they want to see. Because we are stakeholders in football. Without you, me, all the football fans around the world, nobody gets paid. Players don't have anyone to play in front of. So put the fans involved. And of course, survey the players as well. They have a stake in this. They should be the coaches. You can't just make these damn decisions and then just go, well, that's happening. Joel said they do sin bins in rugby. Yeah, I know, mate. I've watched rugby for years. I understand it, but it's a completely different sport because, as I said earlier on, the referee can stop the clock in rugby. If a scrum breaks down, ref can stop the clock, reset the scrum. If a player's injured, ref can stop the clock. All that's going to happen is you're going to have people feigning injury. Because let's say Virgil van Dijk gets sin binned for 10 minutes. If I'm Jurgen Klopp or the Liverpool manager, I'm telling my lads, any foul, stay on the ground. You get fouled, milk the shit out of it. Stay on the ground. Let that clock tick along. Add it on at the end of the match for all I care. That's grand. We'll have 11 players then. But during that process, milk it. Roll around. Cheat, feign, lie. Don't tell me it's not going to happen. It is. Because... let the ref add it on. The ref can do this all he wants when you've 11 players on the pitch at the end of the game. Just stupid. But thank you, Joel, for the super chat, mate. Appreciate it. Prediction for Chelsea versus Liverpool Cup final. As a Chelsea fan, I've seen how well we can play last night, so I'm predicting Chelsea win. Blue tinted glasses, obviously. It genuinely depends, Peter, what Chelsea show up, what Liverpool show up. You know, if you play like you did at Anfield, we'll beat you again. But it's a cup final, so I do expect the players to be up for it. And I expect it to be like they normally are when we play a fairly tight game. And I wouldn't be shocked again if it goes all the way to penalty kicks, mate. But let's wait and see. Would a keeper be allowed to be subbed on? I would imagine it would have to be Robert, yes. That's a very good question, Robert, actually. Thank you, mate. That is a very good question. If a keeper gets sin bin, then what? Are we left lashed an outfield player in goal? Or are you allowed to make a temporary substitution? That's a great question. Yeah, Robert, well in. That is a great question. You know, are we going to have to stick Virgil van Dijk in net if Alisson got a sin bin? How big is the sin bin? How many players can go off during 10 minutes? No idea. Don't know the answer to that yet. Can a manager get a sin bin? Doubt it. You can still shout from the sin bin. There's no reason to complicate the game just to put in ads. It's so silly, isn't it? Like, they can't even get the handball rule right. And they expect us to buy into sin bins. They can't get VAR right. And they expect us to buy... Like, they keep telling us that VAR decisions are 96% correct. But every single week, we have clubs getting shafted and apologies being given out regularly from the PGMOL. Craig Ben did very well on top of the league last night. Thank you, Harry. Appreciate that. Yeah, I know it's been such a horrible 5 days making no content. Seeing the channels kind of being idle and stuff, you know, it's been tough, but I'm very proud of the lads for getting back on it last night, and I'm just glad to be back on today, being able to do the streams. Thank you, Hamza. You're very kind, mate. Appreciate you. And everyone that's wished me, the family, well over the last few days. It's meant a lot to us, so thank you. And I want to apologise for those of you who were with me on the stream last night, the short stream. I was so cranky, and I wasn't myself, and it's not good enough, basically, is what I'm saying. I was very aggressive, and yeah, I need to apologise for that, because, you know, I pushed myself to get back too quick, and I knew about 10 minutes into the stream I was struggling, and I was just getting frustrated at myself more than anything, so apologies. Is there any Mo news? No, Christopher, which is really confusing. I still don't know of a date. I was thinking that last night in bed. I was thinking, like, when's Mo going to be potentially back? And I don't know the answer. With Toro back and training from yesterday, which was great to see. Be interesting to see if Klopp plays with Toro in the 6 and moves Alexis further forward against Burnley, which isn't on TV, by the way, in the UK. So we'll be here on top of on Anfield Agenda. Make sure you join us for the watch along from 2:00 on Saturday. On the positive side, it'll be good for us if sin bins is given for stopping a counter-attack. Yeah, but let's be honest, ICU. We both know that there are referees that don't like certain clubs. And I'm not just saying Liverpool in this. Ask Chelsea fans about Anthony Taylor. United fans will certainly have their own group of officials they don't like. It's just going to lead to more iffy decisions. For instance, we've seen Canade get sent off for 2 yellow cards. But we've seen Gabriel get away with a similar foul and no second yellow. It wouldn't have made a damn bit of difference to the result of the game. Not a little bit. I'm not having a dig at Arsenal here. I'm having a dig at the officials. Arsenal beat us deservedly. Full credit to Arteta and his team. But yeah, imagine that situation where we lost Canade and then you see the same thing happen and nothing happens. That's what's going to happen. With this decision, all they're doing is giving referees bigger opportunities to impact league title races, the outcomes of games. They're putting more power in the officials' hands and not the players. And the game has to be player-centric. We want to see the superstars. We want to see goals. We want to see action. We want to see fast-paced football. Not break, 2-minute VAR check, 10-minute argument. It's just stupid. We want to see football. We want to see the Premier League at its 100-mile-an-hour pace that we all know and love. Right, so Mark just sent me this. Liverpool are also set to be without Dominic Szoboszlai after he missed the Arsenal game due to a recurrence of a hamstring injury, while Mohamed Salah is following personal fitness programs as he recovers from the hamstring injury he suffered with Egypt. And Salah was seen in the gym doing a little bit of training, which is good. So he's on the way back. When is Stefan coming back? Honestly, your guess is as good as mine. Now, there was something I meant to talk about the other day, but I'll talk about now. I find it interesting because I think it's a really important subject, but some people might find it boring. So let me discuss it. So the Premier League are discussing changing the profit and sustainability rules. They've only recently enough been brought in, and as you can see, have had an impact on spending. In the January transfer window, have seen Everton and Nottingham Forest come very close to getting into trouble again. And currently, you're allowed to lose 105 million as a football club over the course of 3 years. And that's for everybody. in the Premier League. Doesn't matter if you're the richest club or the poorest club. Everybody was allowed to lose 105 million over 3 years, and that was fine. Now, clubs that are playing in European football, they've always had to meet that, but also the UEFA requirement, which is that no more than 70% of a club's turnover can be spent on players, staff, and all that kind of stuff. So what the Premier League are going to do, or they're looking to do, is implement the same system that they have in UEFA. So that would mean, technically, that the richer clubs can spend more money and the poorer clubs can spend less money. Because if it's about turnover and revenue, obviously the clubs that turn over more money are going to have more wiggle room. And just for comparison, Premier League and UEFA will be looking at 70%, like I've mentioned, of turnover. We as a football club, the last time I got the numbers, had about 63% of turnover that went for wages and stuff like that. So we're in no danger of not having wiggle room. We're one of the clubs that are in a good position on this one. So, like we've always said, this could finally be where John W. Henry and FSG's frugalness, if you want to call it that, could actually pay dividends to us. Because if this is brought in and FFP does start to have teeth, Liverpool could be set to benefit from that because of how well run in that regard we've been. Now, we're still moaning about transfers, right? I'm still with you on that. We want more money from FSG. But if that's brought in, at least it'll give us some clarity in the league about what's going to happen. Craig, what up? Who are you backing in the Super Bowl? I'm a Chiefs fan. I'm not backing anyone. I'm just really, really, really excited to watch it. The storyline is so crazy, right? Brock Purdy, last draft pick. Patrick Mahomes going for number 3, which is what, dynasty territory. It's just very, very, very finely poised, and I can't wait. I'm so excited for Sunday. I'm going to be glued to it. Oh, possible bit of good news for you? I don't know. We're considering a couple of UK shows. I was thinking about it while I was sick. I was going to do another one in Ireland, but then I decided, after speaking to Connor, who fancies the idea of going over to the UK to do a few. So I'm going to start looking at trying to book in maybe 3 shows in England. So I need some suggestions for cities that have venues that might suit, or that you guys are from, because we're probably going to start surveying you to ask what part of the UK you're from, because we want to get an idea of where our viewers are and try to make sure we can hone in on the right areas to make sure that we can obviously get people to the shows. So yeah, we're trying to put up a few shows because I want to get out and meet you guys. People think the shows are about money. I'm telling you this as an actual fact. We have no intention of making any money from these shows. It's not about making money. We've lost money on Boston, definitely, by a long way, and I don't give a damn about it. It's about meeting you guys, having fun, sharing experiences, and talking about the football club. I hate how we lose one game and now City've won the league. Excuse me. Mate, I'm with you on that. Shadow, I'm with you on that, because what I hate is that the amount of people I've seen give up. And if this team have taught us anything over Jurgen's 9 years here, it's that you don't give up on this team, because this team don't give up. And yes, it was disappointing to lose to Arsenal in the manner that we lost to Arsenal, but ultimately it's the first real defeat we've had this season in the league. Yes, we lost to Spurs, but we know what happened in that game. So this was a poor performance. Arsenal thoroughly deserved to beat us. I've no qualms about that. But by God, giving up on the league title is mental. So much football to be played. Dugout, how are we? Said, good evening, Craig. I hope you're feeling better. Sin bins at football is one of the most ridiculous and ludicrous things I've ever heard. Thank you, Doug, and I agree. The poll is still running. At the moment, it's 81% to 19% in favour of no sin bins. Come to Wigan, said Matt Graham. Well, Liverpool area will be somewhere. Probably, like, Connor wants to do Liverpool. That when I said to Connor about going to the UK, the first thing he said is that he would like to do a Liverpool show. I have a venue in Cardiff I've always wanted to do. This Sir Richard Burton Theatre. It's a beautiful, beautiful venue that I'd love to do a show in. But yeah, I don't know. My UK geography is terrible, so this is why I'm asking where you guys are, because we need to know where the people that watch the channel are. Craig, have you gone over what Schweinsteiger said about Alonso? I was saving it, but you've teed me up nicely, my friend. Thank you very much. Harry, thank you, mate. Yes, I was saving that, but I'm getting into it now, mate. So yes, Bastian Schweinsteiger was speaking about Alonso, and he said, I know Xabi, and I think his big dream is to coach Liverpool, and I can imagine it will be this summer when he leaves. Good man, Bastian. I know he played for Manchester United and all, but still. Look, for me, anyone other than Alonso is going to be a disappointment in the summer. Pyramid and Wirgin, there's plenty of big names. Add yourself to the list. I don't consider myself a big name, mate. This is... Oh, you know what? Did I tell you guys we got a YouTube manager? So, this is going to sound really arrogant, but it's actually true, so I have to say it this way. When you get to a certain level and a certain size in YouTube, they start to look at channels and they select ones that they give managers to. And we were given a manager, and we had the first meeting with the YouTube manager yesterday. So the future's looking bright for Team Anfield Agenda. It was a very useful meeting as well. And now we've appointed contact. So if anything goes wrong or we get a copyright strike or any of that stuff, we have somebody now that we have appointed contact and somebody to look after the channel, which is a huge help and means a lot to us. Am I streaming tonight? Yes, I am, mate. I'll be back at 8:30 tonight and doing the usual. I'm back into full rhythm now. I'm back into work mode. It was the worst 5 days. I hate sitting idle and not being able to chat with you guys. And I was so bored. I was up in bed and I was just I watched Curb Your Enthusiasm from start to finish again. Do you know what I found out? Sorry for this tangent. I was watching Curb Your Enthusiasm, season 10, I believe it was, or maybe it was 11. And do you know what came up in Curb Your Enthusiasm? I shit you not. There was a scene in it where Larry was sitting there and the guy who was doing the runner, it was one of the runners or buying the props and stuff for the show. He was from Ireland and he was talking to Larry and he said, Larry, my uncle told me to say hello to you. He used to work with you. I think he said on Seinfeld. And he said he's moved back home now to Ireland. He's got 50 acres about 65 miles outside of Dublin in a town called Gorey. And I nearly fell off the bed. My little town, Gorey, was mentioned in Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's like the coolest thing ever. I'm such a child, but it was amazing. How does someone become a YouTube manager? Google. Supply them, mate. The people who've worked for Google and YouTube for years. Our YouTube manager is an example. I think she said she had 2 years with Google or 3 years with Google and now 2 years with YouTube. So they're trained up to understand everything about the back end of the channel, the statistics, all that kind of stuff, you know. You deserve 1 million subscribers, Craig. I don't deserve it. We do. Because I ain't shit, mate. I'll be honest with you. I keep saying this to you. People say this. It's you. Without you, these comments, the fun, the banter, the interaction, and the welcoming nature of you to each other, none of this happens. So don't be giving me any credit. It's all of us together. I love Curb Your Enthusiasm, Comedy Gold. I just love Larry David, mate. He's just so funny. I love him. I think he's just like me. He's a cranky kid. Do you have to pay for it? No. We did have to apply for it. We got an email in, if my memory's right, November. And the email in November said that we've been selected as a possible choice to receive a YouTube manager. If we'd like to apply for it, and they'll let us know in January. So we applied for it in November and we got the email in January. The email said, hi, my name's, I'm not going to say the lady's name, I've been appointed as your YouTube manager. It was such a nice feeling. Is like the YouTube silver play button was an amazing part of our journey. Like getting to 100,000 subscribers, that was brilliant. But this is like the gap now, hopefully, between this and You never know. Adam said, "Hi Craig, hope you and the family are feeling better. Great to have you back. We're all good now, thank you, mate." Yeah, I was the last one. Weirdly, in my house, it seems to go Lucas, my daughter, Sabrina, then me when everybody gets sick. So Sabrina was a couple of days ahead of me. So she was feeling a little bit better from yesterday and the day before. Today's the first real day I woke up and thought, oh, look, the bed's not drenched in sweat. That's a good start. What are the blue cards going to be used for? For sin bins, mate. For dissent from a player to the referee, or for a tactical foul stopping a promising attack. It's going to be a blue card in 10 minutes in a sin bin. Nonsense. And they're going to be trialled in the FA Cup probably first. Was it flu? I don't know. I have no idea what it was. But I'll tell you, there's like 11 kids or something out in my son's class with it. Whatever it was, and I'm not saying this lightly, because I've been fortunate enough in my life, I've never really been that sick. But that's the worst illness I've ever had. It was horrible. My eyes were sore if they were open or closed. I was cold, I was hot. I could barely breathe for 3 days. I felt like somebody was sitting on my chest. It was absolutely frighteningly horrible. And I couldn't sleep. For the first 3 days, I got 6 hours of sleep in total. It was absolutely horrible. And I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Well, maybe not anyone. Likely the co. Well, if it was, by the time I got to test, it came up negative. So, I don't know if I tested too late or whatever. But I think it was day 4 I did a test. And the test came up clear. Bean head. Yeah, that's what your mother says. Come down here and play with me, Bean. You head the ball. There, you see? I can absolutely batter you, Ben. And your mother's Bean. Don't have a go with the king, Ben. You ain't funny enough, quick enough, smart enough, or good looking enough. Unlike your L1. As a fan, our heart, says Alonso, no doubt FSG as Liverpool fans probably have the same emotions. So I think take time to look at the stats, be as objective as possible, as reasonable. 100%, Susie. That's more than fair. It's a big decision, Susie. So 100%. You want to get it right, and everything has to be looked at properly. 100%. So I've no issues with that at all, Susie. I just am being swept up in a whole thing of emotion at the minute, mate, to be honest with you, about Alonso. Also because, I'll read out what the Marseille president said about Alonso. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I'm sure a lot of you probably have. But to me, this just summed up Xabi perfectly. Marseille president Pablo Longoria claims Xabi Alonso rejected the chance to join him with elegance. I went to see him. He told me no with an elegance. The same elegance he had when he played football. A 40-yard crossbar in his feet. He was telling me no. I should have been upset, but I almost wanted to thank him. You see that his brain goes at another speed. He knew exactly the 3 or 4 clubs he wanted to coach and was ready to wait for them. He's just that guy, Alonso. Like, in life, he's just that guy. He is. He's got a football brain, a proper tactical, technical football brain. He's got the charisma. I mean, for me, I think it's the best fit. But look, as Susie said, it's not me that's making this decision. It's not you that's making this decision. It's FSG and their staff that will be making this decision. And thank you again, Susie, for the super chat. You're very kind. As a United fan, nice to see you back. Thank you, mate. Appreciate you, Honest Tiger. On United, actually, mate, while I have you, what's all this about wanting some free money to build a stadium? I mean, the idea of a Wembley of the North and a new stadium for United, I'm sure, is absolutely needed. I'm not arguing about that. But Radcliffe has some cheek in a cost of living crisis, wanting the government to pony up money for a stadium when he's a billionaire. I mean, I couldn't even believe they had the barefaced cheek to say it, let alone think it's going to happen. Why would the public money go to... It's just unfair for a start. And it's not like United can't afford their own stadium. The whole thing sounds a bit weird. And I don't think there's any way this gets off the ground in that current guise. I mean... And also... Radcliffe still only owns 25% of Manchester United, so surely the Glazers are ultimately going to have a big part to say in this, unless Radcliffe completes a buyout at some point. It is, I mean, I agree, disgraceful from Radcliffe, said Kangol. It just sounds so dense, and that's the only word I can think of is dense. Like, in a cost of living crisis, where families are struggling to get by, people can just about keep the lights on or pay the mortgage and, feed their kids or keep a car on the road or whatever. And United think that they might get free money from the state to build the Wembley of the North. And they're probably the second richest club in the world. Well, real turnover, not Man City rich, the Man City rich. United, Real Madrid, they're the two cash cows in world football. Will Salah be ready to play against Burnley? He won't, no. No, he won't. But what decision will Xabi make, said Calm Vibes Namaste. Well, Bastian Schweinsteiger said, I know Xabi and I think that he'll be the Liverpool manager. Now, I'm paraphrasing that. That's his exact phrase. Where was it gone? His exact phrase, Mr. Bastian Schweinsteiger, was... I know Xabi. I think his big dream is to manage Liverpool or coach Liverpool, he said, and I can imagine it'll be this summer when he leaves. So there you go. We need Old Trafford renovated. I don't want a new stadium. Also think the time of the news was badly considered. Tuesday was the anniversary of the Busby Babes and this comes out. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that, Shane. So firstly, sincerely, as always at this time of the year when it is the anniversary of the Munich air disaster, all of our best wishes, love, thoughts and condolences, of course, are with the Manchester United fans and the club. No smart arse comments about that. That's serious stuff. After that, I would agree, but again, Shane, not knowing Old Trafford as well as you would, I believe the rail line is the problem behind the Sir Bobby Charlton stand. There was a good piece on Sky about it last night that I was watching. I think that's what's causing the problem. United own 100 acres of land or something like that around Old Trafford. So they do, if they can move it the other way, that will give them enough space to rebuild Old Trafford. Now, over here in Ireland, we have the Aviva, and our train runs under the Aviva. So I don't know if that's possible, where it is. I've no idea, but it was done here, so... does Klopp's playstyle take toll on players' health? I would say it does. I wouldn't say health, but I would certainly say fitness, and I would say players are more likely to break down under the intense nature of Klopp's football, yes. What's your verdict on Gravenberch? Techie but no grit. So, I think it's... clear potential, didn't have a proper pre-season, hasn't really got back into a rhythm yet, but from a positive start, it's become a little bit underwhelming, Zoab. I'm not giving up on him, he's 21. There's a lot of time left for him to continue. And football's littered with people who've been written off too early and come back to show. Look at De Bruyne. You know what I mean? That's a really good case in point. He was sent out of Chelsea, went to Wolfsburg, rebuilt himself, came back, look at him now. Probably best midfielder in the league by a long, long way. Bielsa is more intense than Klopp. That's great. That wasn't the fucking question, though, was it? It's not a competition, mate. The question was, does Klopp's style of football make players get injuries? Nothing to do with Bielsa. I've heard people saying sell Gakpo. Do you agree with that? I don't agree with it. but I don't see where he starts. I think he's all right to have as a squad player. Yeah, that's where I'm at with Gakpo. I think he's a role to play in the squad, but if I'm picking my best front three, I don't have him in it. What's up with Thiago? He's injured again, unfortunately. Paul Joyce confirmed earlier on that he's going to have another spell on the sidelines. You know, after his 12 minutes and 10 touches against Arsenal, he's now injured again after 10 months of being out at 200 grand a week. It's not great. Right, look, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to record the preview, which will be out at 6 o'clock. And then I will see you wonderful people back here tonight at 8:30 for my favourite show, Late Night Agenda. Catch you all then. Do me a favour before you head off. We're only at 270 likes. Hit that like button for me. Get us up to 500. And I'll see you wonderful people at 8:30. Thank you for your understanding over the past few days. Thank you for your well wishes for the family as well. It means more than you know. And much love, my friends. I'll see you later on.